वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमावों विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare
Welcome,
Krishna.
welcome everyone. Hare Krishna. So we will continue our discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam with the fifth canto. So we are seeing the conversation between Rahugana and Jadabara, where for several times, like a lot of instructions, exchanges we have seen. So last week, the how like we have discussed, he especially titles this chapter as Forest of Material Enjoyment. How people in this world they suffer in this world. He gives the analogy that a merchant, when he wants to gain some goods, he enters the forest in order to attain some wealth, but in the process he struggles a lot. So through that allegorical story, he is explaining how a conditioned soul, when he enters material world with the mood of enjoyment, he experiences a great forest of like forest of enjoyment. So this is like as we had discussed before, entering forest of Vrindavan, which is very peaceful, very blissful, joyful. Everyone is loving each other. So this chapter in fifth canto is titled as Forest of Enjoyment, where every step there are miseries. Padam padam yat. So that we have seen last time. He is he struggles through his senses. Uncontrolled senses are compared to uh, like uh, uh, like different entities we have seen. How he sometimes imagine mosquitoes, they are like low class men, they chastise him. Desires are like compared to ghosts. Sometimes sometimes dust may overcome someone, eyes will be covered. So he will be covered with passion or lust and he will be punished. Sometimes cricket and owl, the sounds will disturb him. So sometimes enemies and government, when they chastise, he will suffer. And when he wants some money, he may approach some wealthy men, but he may not receive any help. Like just like impious trees, they will not give any fruits when he is hungry. So sometimes he may see some mirage to quench his thirst, but he will not get satisfied. Similarly, sense gratification, want to gain some pleasure through sense gratification, but it will not give any satisfaction. Sometimes he may want to relieve himself from heat. He may enter shallow river, but he breaks his bones. Similarly, he want to attain some relief, so he may approach some pseudo guru who will not give proper solution. Sometimes forest fire may be there. So family life, sometimes arguments may be there, which may be troublesome. Yakshas may come and take away his money. So government officials sometimes suddenly they may come and take away all his money. And sometimes he may imagine some Gandharva city. So sometimes he may experience some dreamy happiness, thinking that his elders have appeared in his family like that. And sometimes he may need to climb mountain that is compared to household ceremonies, which are like so much difficult to perform. And because of that, he may become angry upon his family members. And then there is some python may come and devour him. So that is compared to sleep, where conditioned soul sometimes enamored by sleep and sleeps more than whatever he may captured by that, or ignorance also can be compared to this. And sometimes there may be snake bites, which are like enemies when they come and trouble someone, harm someone. That is like compared to snake bites. Sometimes he may enter deep dark well, and sometimes conditioned soul may trouble in his heart. So lot of have lot of he may not get sleep because of that troubled heart, and sometimes he may want to drink some honey and go to honeycomb, but a honey bee will come and bite him. So that is compared to wanting to enjoy illicitly. So because of which he will be punished by king or other people. So illegal enjoyment. Miseries, sometimes in forest there will be miseries from nature and enemies. So similarly, there will be threefold miseries in the material world, and also because of money, so small money transactions, there will be cheating. And if he doesn't get his needs fulfilled, he may beg, borrow, and steal. But because of that, he may receive so many insults and disrespect in society. And sometimes there will be difficulties and divorces, and sometimes like he is so much attached to his elders, but when they die, his attachment will transfer to his younger ones. In this way, he constantly the attachment keep on transferring from one place to another place. Even great warriors also, they thought that they are powerful warriors, thinking that everything belongs to me. But ultimately, they also gave up this body without achieving their final goal. Sometimes he may take shelter of creeper, which will not give any shelter. So he may he may be in the mood of enjoyment. He may be enamored. Sometimes there will be lions attacking. So it is like Kala Chakra time, Hari Chakra, which will take away all his accumulations. Sometimes cranes and vultures will be there. So these are compared to bogus gurus who may not give solution. And they may not be able to follow the pseudo gurus. They will not get any relief. So they may go approach some proper persons, but they will not be able to follow their rules. So therefore, they may again associate with local gurus, because of which he suffers again and again. Sometimes he will enjoy on a tree and falls in a cave and crushed by elephant. So he will, that is compared to going in different species because of ignorance, transmigrating in different species, and he may achieve death. And, hanging like a monkey and creeper, something. So going up and down in different species. So in this way, so many miseries of material life, they are explained. But ultimately, in order to come out of all these miseries, the bhakti is the only way to come out of the way, so that slowly all these miseries one can overcome. So in the 10th canto, there is a nice shloka, Samashritaye Padapallava Plavam Mahat Padam. So it says that in this material world, there is so many miseries. Padam Padam Yad Vipadam Natesham. Means there is so much misery in each and every step, there will be misery. Like that it is mentioned. But the people who have taken shelter of the Lord, it's like they will be easily able to cross over this material world, just like if a calf's footprint is there, a very small footprint, one can easily cross over, right? So similarly, if one takes shelter of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet and worship through bhakti, one will be easily able to cross this material world, which is compared to ocean. just like one easily cross over the half calf's hoof print. So that's why bhakti is the very easy way to come out of this miserable life. In this way, he instructs. So we have seen till this point last time. We'll continue from there. So hearing that, Rahugana, like Jadabharat finally says to Rahugana that actually that like that merchant who has entered forest, you are also a victim. So therefore, you take up the sword of knowledge and you overcome all these miseries by practicing devotional service. In this way, you will be able to come out. So like that, he advises Rahugana. And Rahugana, when he hears all these things, he was very much enlightened and he understands his glory. So then he starts praising that. He expresses his gratitude. He says that human life is very अहोनुजन्माखिल जन्म शोभन किं जन्म विश्वपरैरप्यमुष्मिन् न यदृषिकेश यशस्कृतात्मनः महात्मनां वा प्रचुरः समागमः. It says that Nujanma, this human form of life, is very, very Akila Janma Shobhanam. It is like it gives very, out of all forms of life, this is the best among all the species of life. Why? Because in no other species, even the Devata's bodies also, it is very difficult to get the association of Mahatmas like you. So therefore, it is very fortunate. In this way, he praises the association of devotees. And then, is it that the association of great association of devotees is required? Says that even a moment of association is enough. He says that nahi adbhutam tat charanabjarenu hatam so bhaktir adokshaje amala. Just mahurtikad yasya samagama achame dustarka mulo apahto aviveka. Just by muhurta means around like one muhurta is like 48 minutes, something like that. So just by little association with you, my aviveka, my ignorance, which is based on dustarka mulo, based on fallacious reasoning, and all these things were removed. So therefore, association with the devotees is the greatest thing. And because he could not recognize Jadabharat because he is acting like a dumb and dull person, so he committed offense. So therefore, he is offering obeisances to anyone. So devotee can be in any form. So sometimes he can be in very small baby form, sometimes very young age, sometimes very old person, sometimes in a different like male body or female body, or they can be Brahmana, Shudra, or anywhere. So there are no barriers where a devotee can be, or they can be Avaduta Linga where no one can identify their person. So therefore, he is saying that नमो महद्भ्योऽस्तु नमः शिशुभ्यो नमो युवभ्यो नव आवटुभ्यः ये ब्राह्मणागामवधूतलिङ्गा चरन्ति तेभ्यः शिवमस्तु राज्ञाम्. Namo Mahadbhyo. So I offer my obeisances to great personalities. Namah Shishubhyo. So Shishubhyo means very small persons. Namo Yuvabhyo. They may be young. Nama Avatubhya. So Avatubhya means they may be like appear as very children, like they may be look like very small persons. So all these Avaduta Linga means without identification, a Brahmana Gam, these Brahmanas they move around this world, Charanti Tebhya. So I offer my obeisances. By their mercy, all our kingdom may be um, let their auspicious may be there for our kingdoms. Like that he prays. So in this way he prays. Then in this way, after instructing Rahugana immediately. So Sukadeva Goswami mentions that the nature of Jadabharat, although Rahugana has insulted him, but he was not disturbed by that insult, although he may little bit agitated, but immediately he was calmed down and he showed mercy to Rahugana. So this is the nature of great souls, that even though he was insulted, the same personality he showed mercy and instructed on the science of soul and everything. So therefore he was a very great personality, Jadabharat. And Rahugana himself understood all these nature of the soul and the difference between body and the soul, and therefore he gave up the bodily conception completely. And uh, like in this way, like whoever has taken shelter of great personalities, and they will be able to understand the difference between bodily conception. So there will not be any difficulty. So in this way, he mentioned. So then Parikshit Maharaj, so that is the perfection of Rahugana. Rahugana also finally able to gain that knowledge of difference between soul and body, and he perfected his life. So then finally Parikshit Maharaj asked that please elaborate this analogy on that allegory, that merchant entering forest. So then Shukadeva Goswami explains that knowledge in 14th chapter. And then after explaining that, again, after completely explaining the material nature of material nature world, he praises again the Jadabharat. The Jadabharat, the nature, he says that no one can imitate the activities of Jadabharat or Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj in his previous life as a king, he gave up all the he gave up all the kingdom and take to the path of bhakti and worship. So he gives the comparison like a path of Garuda and a fly imitating. So even the various great kings and various leaders, they are like compared to ordinary flies, but Bharat Maharaj is compared to the Garuda. No one can imitate the path of Garuda. So like that, even not even mentally also they cannot imitate the path of Garuda, because the path of bhakti that he followed is like very like although it is very easy, very few people will take up. So therefore it is very rare, like that it is he is mentioning. And because of that, what is Bharat Maharaj achievement? So although he has a kingdom, which is like this kingdom is compared to very difficult. Your Dustyajan Darasutam. It is very difficult to give up the attachments, kingdom, and everything, which is always touching one's heart. But he just like one will give up some dirty things, he gave up everything, although it is difficult. And he, and he took to the path of devotional service, and that devotional service, it is like the Lord will become very much attracted to that person who has taken shelter of that devotional service. And it makes even abhavopi falgu, even the path of liberation, position of liberation, it makes insignificant. So this is one more glory, that is glorifying devotional service, where it is saying that generally people may aspire for liberation, merging into the Lord, where there is no devotional service. But the path of devotional service, serving the Lord, is will make even liberation is insignificant for them. So that's how the path of Bharat Maharaj is mentioned. And then what is the glory of this Bharat Maharaj is that even at the time of in the body of a deer, even while giving up the body of deer, he chanted the names of Lord Vishnu. So he says that Yajnaya Dharmapatiye Vidunaipunaya Yogaya Sankhya Sirase Prakriti Ishwaraya Narayanaya Haraye Nama iti Udaram Hasyan Mrugatvam Apiya Samudajahara. That means even in the body of even in the body of deer, he was chanting the names of the Lord. So the names of the Lord has descended even when he is in the body of deer. That's how his glory is mentioned. So in this way, the story of Jadabharat was mentioned. So Falashruti is given. What will happen if one hears the story of Jadabharat, one who hears and chants this character of Bharat Maharaj and praises him. So all auspiciousness will come, and one's lifespan will increase, material opulence will increase, one can become very famous, and they can attain heavenly planets. Or if someone wants liberation of merging into the Lord, that can also attain. So whatever one desires, simply by hearing, chanting, and glorifying the activities of Maharaj Bharat, all one's material and spiritual desires will be fulfilled. So in this way, the Falashruti is mentioned. So Falashruti, Bhagavatam is compared to non-different from Lord Krishna. So, like just like one can approach the Lord for material desires and all the material desires can be fulfilled, or one can approach the Lord for spiritual desires and to worship the Lord. Those desires will also be fulfilled. Similarly, Bhagavatam Falashrutis also contain both material and spiritual. So, the way, like, even if one wants material desires, simply by studying Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, those material desires will be fulfilled. If one wants spiritual desire, that will also get fulfilled. So, in this way, Bhagavatam contains both the Falashrutis. So this is the story of Jadabharat. I think we have covered many weeks. We have discussed activities of Bharat Maharaj as a deer, and then finally Jadabharat and teachings to Rahugana, and finally their success. So now we will proceed to the next chapters, where glories of descendants of Priyavrat Maharaj. A small section is mentioned. So where there are like list of names of descendants of Priyavrat Maharaj, where especially there are like certain personalities are there, like King Sumati and Parita, like that. So in that dynasty, there is one king named Gaya has come. So his glories were mentioned. So Gaya, his glories were, Gaya is like an kind of expansion, Kala of the Supreme Lord. So he was like very nicely, he was ruling. He was very famous in this dynasty, and he was also called as Mahapurusha. And the why he was glorified is that he very nicely ruled all his citizens. As a king, there are like four kinds of activities that are mentioned. He has to as like many times Bhagavatam describes the glories of kings in general means leaders in current society who are taking care of citizens, and or whoever has someone under them who are they are taking care. All those people can learn those lessons from these activities of these kings. So here for Gaya Maharaj, there are like four characteristics that are mentioned especially. So he, for all his citizens, he makes sure he did poshana. Poshana means he gave sufficient food to feed all the citizens. So that is the first characteristics that he has mentioned. And then he also performed prinana. Prinana means he gave suitable gifts for all the citizens, suitable arrangements so that they all the citizens will be satisfied. And he also did Upalalana. Upalalana means he conducted meetings, and with his sweet words, he satisfied all those citizens. Also, he Anushasana. Anushasana means he gave them good instructions so that they will become first class citizens. So that means Poshana, Prinana, Upalalana, Anushasana means gave sufficient foodstuffs and other necessities. He gave other necessities, whatever they require, gifts and everything. That is like Prinana. and he conducted meetings and praised them and also gave good instructions they can follow. In this way, he nicely executed and he followed all the rules of householder life, performed great sacrifices, and along with that, he always performed devotional service to the Lord. He executed all his duties very nicely, and he always gave respect to all other devotees, and he was completely free from his bodily consumption. So in this way, although he has so many qualities, he was not at all proud, and he was not even willing to he was not so anxious to rule the world as like a king, but as a duty he was performing. So and like especially the nature of uh, it is mentioned that in the Kali Yuga, it is so rare to see these good qualities in a king or a Brahmana. So there is one pastime it was mentioned that when Vibhishan when he came to Ram to take shelter, that time others may doubt when he makes friendship. So he makes certain vows that he says that if I broke my this loss of friendship, then I will become a Brahmana or a king in Kali Yuga. So that means in Kali Yuga, Brahmana or king, they are like so kind of degraded that his division is taking that if I violate, I will become like that. So that is the condition of this Kali Yuga, it was mentioned. But nonetheless, a great leaders, they can take all these principles and apply in their life. So that's why these things are mentioned here. So this like the glories of Gaya, it was mentioned that he was very highly intelligent. He studied all the shastras. He maintained all the religious principles in the kingdom. Learned man. He always served the devotees, and he was like an expansion of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, no one is equal to him. And he like all when he was ruling the earth, just like a cow gives milk to her calf, similarly, earth gave all the necessities for all the citizens. And the citizens were so much satisfied with all the opulences that they don't have any personal desires. And he performed all the Vedic rituals. And whenever he was uh, fighting with others, all the subordinate kings they offered so many gifts. So, and Brahmanas were also very much satisfied in his kingdom because he gave a lot of charities. And the because of that, the piety of Brahmanas, 1/6 of the piety of the Brahmanas went to King Gaya so that he can receive. So whenever a leader is doing, it was mentioned that uh, 1/6 of the piety will come to the leader, like or 1/6 of the impiety or sinful reactions will also come to the leader. So in this way, both piety and impiety will come to the leader. Therefore, it is very necessary for the king to see that both these things are followed. All the citizens are nicely following dharma. Otherwise, he may incur sin. And if he make sure that everyone is following dharma, he will gain that piety also. This way, it was mentioned. And even it is mentioned that in one of his yajna, even King Indra came and he drank so much somarasa and he became intoxicated, like that it was mentioned. And Supreme Lord Vishnu has personally appeared in his sacrifice and offered benedictions. And he said that I am very much satisfied. So when the Supreme Lord Vishnu is satisfied, all the all other beings like devatas, other living entities, everyone also felt satisfied. In this way, the glory of Gaya was mentioned, and his descendants' names were also given. Finally, the last descendant is like Viraja, and he had a very high qualities and wide fame, and in this way he ruled. So this is the dynasty of Priyavrat Maharaj is mentioned. So after explaining the dynasty of Priyavrata Maharaj, fifth canto starts describing the universal structure. So this is like the Parikshit Maharaj. When he heard the Priyavrat Maharaj, if you remember the glories of Priyavrat Maharaj, when he was traveling in a chariot, it was mentioned that there are seven islands and seven oceans were created. So when Parikshit Maharaj remembered that statement, so he is asking that I want to understand the geography of this universe. So I want to know the measurements of this Bhumandala, seven oceans, seven islands, and I want to know its names, characteristics. So please explain how this grass universal form is situated. So why I want to hear is that like when one hears or meditates on this grass universal form, understanding that this is the external feature of the material mode. Like it was basically this whole universe is created by the energy of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, it is also sometimes mentioned as the grass universal form, grass body of the Lord, but it is material body of the Lord. But nonetheless, when one understands that it is the energy of the Lord, and thinking in terms of the Lord, then when one will come into one's consciousness will be purified. Just like in second canto, we have seen when we observe so many things of this material world, right? Whenever we see sun, we see moon, we see so many mountains, rivers. So how does a yogi he meditates? He sees the sun as the eye of the Lord, the moon as the another eye of the Lord. Mountains, he see it is the bones of the Lord. Rivers, when he see it, he thinks it as the veins of the Lord. So in this way, whatever he sees in the Prakriti, he connects it with the Lord. That's how he imagines. So, but that is like one form of meditation. This is like although this sun and moon mountains, rivers, trees, all these things, they are the external energy of the Lord manifested by the Prakriti. They are different from the Lord, but nonetheless, they are also non-different from the Lord in the sense that energy and energetic, they cannot be separated. So therefore, they are in one sense, they are one with the Lord, and in one sense, they are different from the Lord. But it was mentioned in the second canto also, a yogi, when he was meditating, two kinds of dharanashraya was mentioned. One dharanashraya is the gross form of the Lord, which is like universal form, where he thinks that this is his different parts of the Lord. And by through that process, when his consciousness is purified, he can meditate directly on the transcendental form of the Lord, which was also mentioned in second canto, which is like Shankha Chakra Gadadhara, the form of Lord Vishnu as a super soul residing in one's heart, wearing Kirita, Vaijayanti Mala, Kaustuba, Srivatsa. So that is the like beautiful yellow girl, yellow clothes. So that is like the form of Paramatma in one's heart. So that is like if one's consciousness is purified, one can meditate on Paramatma. And that form of the Lord is transcendental, beyond material. So that is the actual Swarupa of the Lord. So when one's heart is purified, it was recommended by Bhagavatam that one should meditate on that form of the Lord which is transcendental. But here Parikshit Maharaj is asking to describe the universal form of the Lord, because there in the assembly of Parikshit Maharaj, where he was hearing Bhagavatam, there are many Bhakti Mishra yogis, they were sitting. So Bhakti Mishra yogis means they practice Ashtanga yoga process, which is also having the elements of bhakti. So for their benefit, he is asking this question so that they can understand how this universe is situated, how they can meditate on the form of the Lord, how this grass universe is situated. So that for their benefit he is asking. And also that is one purpose. And also another purpose is that Shukadeva Goswami, he is a Bhakti yogi. He is narrating all this description about this whole universe. So when the yogis, when like some of the people, they understand that such a great person, he is narrating all this universal structure and everything. So, and he is recommending this Bhakti Yoga. So, therefore, they understand the glory of Bhakti Yoga also. So, Parikshit himself, he does not have intention to practice this. He knows that his path is hearing and chanting about the Lord. But for the benefit of all the yogis that are sitting, he is asking this question. And he's saying, and one more purpose is that this universal form, when one hears, this shows the greatness of the Lord, how vast this universe is, how great the Lord is. So when one understands that greatness of the Lord, slowly his appreciation for the Lord grows, and slowly when he meditates on this gross form, slowly he can meditate later on in the transcendental form of the Lord also he can meditate. So that's how that is another purpose he is asking. So that's why he's saying that please explain this universal form by hearing which the mind can come to goodness, and then one can meditate on the subtle form of the like transcendental form of the Lord. So in order to respond that, Shukadeva Goswami is saying that uh, so he's saying that I this material world that you asked, this is man, this came from the three modes of the Lord, material energy, and it is so this is so so vast that no one, even in the lifespan of a Brahma, cannot explain this completely. So this whole universe, how different parts of the universe they are situated in this world, no one can understand. So but I will nonetheless narrate you some parts of the region, so that you can understand some parts. So in this way, I will narrate only some parts like that. He says. So before starting this, only is clarifying that it is very difficult to understand this whole universe, different structures, different places where they are situated. But nonetheless, some parts are explained. So by reading Srimad Bhagavatam in some parts, we may not get the exact structure of the universe, but the purpose is that in wherever the uh, different places they are situated, different living entities based on their modes they are situated, and in those places also people worship the Lord in different forms. That is also another purpose, and also to give the different how this universe is situated, how the Lord material nature is working. That is also displayed. So we may not understand how everything is working by just by reading Bhagavatam. So therefore, there are other scriptures like Surya Siddhanta and the like other Puranas. So by combining all that knowledge, we may understand some things. There are some scholars, some devotees who have performed research on this area. They are developing the universal model. So this universal model, which may be displayed in Mayapur temple in the TOVP, Temple of Vedic Planetarium. So that a lot of research is required. So by just by reading Bhagavatam, one may not understand everything. So therefore, one has to go to other scriptures and derive so many things. So we will discuss some of the things. So if one doesn't understand these things, don't worry. It is no need to completely understand. Whatever little bit one can understand. Basically, one should have faith that the descriptions of Bhagavatam, they are not a mythology. So when sometimes when we hear that sun is moving in a chariot with 7 horses. So it's not that Shukadeva Goswami and other great sages, they are not describing some mythology. These are not some imaginary things. All the phenomena that we observe in this world, everything can be explained by the Vedic cosmology or Vedic cosmology, and even in fact, our whole Jyotisha Shastra is based on the understanding of the cosmology that are based on the scriptures. And we know that how astrologers, astronomy and astrologers. So astrology or Jyotish Shastra is completely depending upon this whole structure, how it is placed. So it is not wrong. Like so many people, they are studying this astrology, and they predict some kind of the natures of different personalities based on all these things. So these are all not a mythology. These are the existing things. That much faith one can develop. And all the phenomena, like while how the seasons are coming, how different seasons are coming, how different uh, like why we are experiencing different days and nights, the distance between sun and earth, all these things, even from the point of view of Vedic scriptures, they are perfectly matching with the modern world. Only the reference will be varying. So the Vedic model is that sun is moving around the sun is moving around our Bhumandala, and sun and moon are moving, but the general understanding of the uh, scientists, they are saying that earth is revolving around the sun. So this is like point of reference may vary, but all the other fact things can be explained. Now we will go into little bit details about how this universe is situated. So uh, in describing this Bhumandala, the Jambu Dvipa is kind of explained. The Bhumandala, the nature of Bhumandala is compared to a lotus flower. Just like how a lotus flower is having many petals around with different layers, and in between there is a filament. So Bhumandala is compared to the shape of lotus. In between the filament is there, and different layers of the lotus petals they are surrounding. So when I say Bhumandala, I am not referring to Earth where we are sitting, where we are placed. I am referring to much more than the uh, Earth where we are sitting, where we are. Our Earth is also sometimes addressed as Bhugola in our scriptures. So this is Bhumandala is much more than Earth. Bhumandala, our Earth is like one small teeny point in the center of this Bhumandala. Like you can see this tip, how much small. We can compare the Earth to be that much small in comparison to this Bhumandala. So in the Bhumandala, there is in there are like you can also imagine a big disk which is being separated by oceans. In that, the center part is called as Jambu Dvipa. So this Jambu Dvipa is like a circular disk we can imagine. So that in that Jambu Dvipa, there are several varshas that are mentioned. So this is like a one tract of land called as Jambu Dvipa. In that Jambu Dvipa, there are several regions separated by great mountains. So they are called as Varshas. Kuru Varsha, Hiranmaya Varsha, Ramyaka Varsha, Ketumala Varsha, Ilavrita Varsha, Bhadrasu Varsha, Hari Varsha, Kimpurisha Varsha, and Bharata Varsha. So Bharata Varsha is not India, and this Himalaya is not Himalayas that we see. These are called as Greater Himalayas, which are situated outside Earth. And this Bharatavarsha, in this Bharatavarsha is also again divided into 9 parts. So in that, the one of the part is called as Bharata Khanda. So that Bharata Khanda in this Bharatavarsha is Earth, which is like Bhugola that we are seeing. In this earth also there are smaller Himalayas, and southern direction of that smaller Himalayas is the Bharata Desha that we see, India that we see. So that's how the situation is that. So it is like Jambudvipa when we are talking is like very big area compared to our earth that we are seeing. So these are the reasons that are mentioned in the Bhumandala. So this Jambudvipa is circular in shape like a disc, and this is like 1 lakh yojanas wide. One yojana is approximately 6 to 8 miles. So 1 lakh yojanas means 1 lakh into 8 miles. So that much width this Jambudvipa has. And they are all separated by these huge mountain ranges. So therefore, there are naturally 9 varshas have separated. So in the middle of this Jambudvipa is the Ilavrita Varsha that was mentioned. So in that Ilavrita Varsha, there is a great mountain called as Mount Sumeru. So this is like a Jambudvipa. This Mount Sumeru is like a pillar. We can imagine a pillar. So generally pillar we will see like this. This Mount Sumeru is like a cone-shaped pillar where in the bottom it is very small, but above, as we go above, it becomes wide. So that's how the Mount Sumeru is situated. And below the surface also, it has extended to 16,000 yojanas. So just like a pillar when we construct, some part of pillar will go below and some part will be above. That's how the pillar will be stable. So similarly, some part of this fused mountain is below the surface of Bhumandala, this Jambudvipa, where it is getting stability, and above 84,000 yojanas above this Mount Meru is situated, and the width when the above it is like 32,000 yojanas. So I will not go into the details of how much space it is, all those things. If someone wants to do research, he can go into those details. But I'm giving general overview. So that's how the Mount Sumeru is mentioned. It is so huge. If you see from top view, it looks like this Jambudvipa. So this Mount Sumeru is like so huge, and above, on top of Mount Sumeru, there are residences of Devatas. And it is like Jambudvipa and huge mountains, they are separating the regions. It is like Bharatavarsha and the other Varshas. These are the huge tracts of lands. So on top of this Mount Sumeru, it was mentioned that there were the palaces or honeymoon spots of the Devatas, we can say. Like just like there may be a person house, maybe a person may be living in some place, but he may have some honeymoon places in some residences. Similarly, these are the honeymoon places of the Devatas. For example, Brahma, he has his place in the center of the region. Brahma had his residence in Satyaloka, which is very on top of the universe. But this is like the place where this is also one of the place. Similarly, Indra and others, they had their residences in this mount on top of Mount Sumeru. They may come sometimes to enjoy here. So in this way, this the on top of Jambudvipa is mentioned. And in one of the Varsha, Ilavrita Varsha, the nature, how in Ilavrita Varsha is situated, that was mentioned. So Ilavrita Varsha is like there are like different descriptions are given. Surrounding Ilavrita Varsha, there are great mountains. So this Mount Sumeru is at the center of this Ilavrita Varsha, as we see here. And surrounding this mountain, there are other mountains that are mentioned. And surrounding that also another great mountains they were mentioned, Uda Mandara, like that. On top of each of the mountain, there were different trees. So for example, in the Mandara mountain, it was mentioned that a huge mango tree is there. So the dimension of this mango tree is like very, very huge. and height is also very huge, like 10,000 yojanas, something like that. So when a mango is so huge and it falls from like 100 yojanas, 800 miles, huge mango tree, 800 miles height and 800 miles. 1 mile is like around 8 kilometers. So 16, 1 mile is around 1.6 kilometers. So it's like, so imagine some 1,000 kilometer height mango tree, and some with that height, a huge mango, when it falls, it cracks and it creates a river. So this is like a Bhuloka Swarga. So this is like heavenly planet, description of some kind of heavenly planets, how it resides. And that way you can imagine. So like there are like three kinds of Swarga, it was mentioned. Swarga where the top where devatas reside on top of Bhumandala. This is like in Bhumandala, this is like another Swarga, Bhuloka Swarga, kind of Bhu Swarga it is mentioned. So this is also very opulent place. All the people that are living here, they are very happy, and so many opulences are there. In order to mention that how different places in this world they are situated. For example, in this earth where we are living, some places are very opulent and some places are sometimes maybe very not very opulent, some poverty stricken like that. In this earth also we'll see. And so similarly, there are places in heaven, places in Bhumandala only, which looks like heaven. So these are like one place that description is being given, how that is situated. So these mango fruits, when they fall from this huge mango tree, they will create mango rivers. So that's how mango rivers will grow. And there are like Jambu Nada where the rose apple rivers will go. Sometimes honey, there are, it was mentioned that a huge lake, milk lake is there, pure water lake is there, sugarcane juice lake is there, honey lake is there. And there is a this flowing of river where it creates gold, and devatas will come and make their ornaments using those that gold. And so like that, so much description is there. And when devatas, the devatas, when they come here and they take bath or they drink this water, their whole body will become very fragrant, and they don't experience any symptom of old age, wrinkling on their faces, any fatigue. They are so young. So in this way, they always looks very youthful and they enjoy. In this way, the description is there. So basically, the opulences plus the happiness of their residents, that is mentioned. In this way, one Varsha is described here. So there are so much description of the mountains and other things. So all these descriptions of these different things we cannot verify, because no one can go to these places. So no one can prove this existence, and no one can disprove this existence of these lands here. So by our experiential knowledge, we cannot prove or disprove the statements of Bhagavatam. So this is the nature of this energy of the Lord, material nature. So no one can like there is a variety of the Lord's energy that manifests all these different varieties. This way, this is given. So the as mentioned, this is like on top of Mount Meru. Different devatas, they are situated in between. Brahma is his residential city is there, that is called as Manovati. Indra's residential city is called as Amaravati. So like that, Agni, Yama, Niruti, Varuna, Vayu, Kuvera, Shiva, they had their residences on top of Mount Meru. So here the while describing this, how Ganges descends from on top of the universe to lower places, that was mentioned. We know the pastime of Trivikram Vamandev. When he came, he extends his foot on top of the universe, and when he extends, his foot reaches the coverings of the universe. Through that, the water descends. I will show this picture so that you will understand. So, um, you can see here, this is a picture of the whole universe, where it was like complete picture of the complete universe, where it was mentioned that the only 1/4 of the creation is the material world and 3/4 is the spiritual world. So spiritual world means where different Vaikuntha planets are situated, Goloka, Krishna's residence, and different avatars of the Lord. They are all situated in their own planets. So these are the different planets that the Lord exists and perform their his pastimes with different devotees. In this way, they all enjoy. And there outside these Vaikuntha planets, there is a effulgence of the Lord called as Brahma Jyoti, which spreads everywhere. So in that, so Brahma Jyoti he spreads throughout the spiritual world. So in that Brahma Jyoti, in some corner, there is some material universe will be manifested. There is a Karana ocean. So in that Karana ocean, Lord Mahavishnu, as Karanodakshaya Vishnu, he lies down. And through Mahavishnu, through his hair pores, great Brahmandas, universes are created. So and each universe is like a egg shape. So after creating each universe, Lord Karanodakshaya Vishnu, he himself enters into that universe. He fills the half of the universe with water and he lies down as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And through his navel, a lotus will appear, and on top of that lotus, Lord Brahma is situated. So that lotus is divided into 14 planetary systems. So So this is how we can see in one universe. This is the picture, like in our universe, from navel of Lord Vishnu, the Lord Brahma has appeared. So this is like Satyaloka on top of that. Below Tapoloka, Janaloka, Maharloka, four planetary systems they are there. Below Maharloka is Dhruvaloka, and below Dhruvaloka is Svargaloka, and then the Saptarshiloka, like that. And below that, this whole Bhumandala is there, which is compared to a lotus flower that we have seen. So in that Bhumandala, the center part is Jambudvipa, where we have described. And below that Bhumandala is seven planetary systems. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. So like that, this whole universe is there. When Lord Vamandev, when he has appeared, he has expanded his lotus. He has, we know that story where he expanded his feet. So his leg touched through, it crossed over all these layers of universe and it entered into this Karana ocean. Through that Karana ocean, it came and washed the feet of Lord Vishnu and entered into our universe. And that's how Brahmaji respected that water, and that's how that water came inside. So that's how that ultimately that came down and became like Ganges water. So that's how the descendant of Mother Ganges have come, like from the causal ocean to the Lord's feet. It washed the Lord's feet, and it came to Dhruvaloka, which is situated above. Below that Dhruvaloka, it came to the seven planetary, the Saptarshi Mandala, where each of the sage has his own planet below Dhruvaloka. And from Dhruvaloka, it came to top of Mount Meru. So that's how this path of Ganges is described. Maybe we will discuss this path of Ganges, how it ultimately came to even Mount Meru, and then Himalayas, greater Himalayas, and then the small Himalayas, and then to our India, Haridwar, and it again goes to even Patal Lok also. That path of Ganges is given. And then there is a prayers which are like in different varshas, different personalities worships a particular form of the Lord and offers prayers. So those are all described in Bhagavatam. So basically, even while narrating this whole universe, different structures and everything, Shukadeva Goswami is taking opportunity in every moment to glorify the path of devotional service, to glorify the different forms of the Lord and their prayers. So all these things we will see in our next discussion. I'll stop here. If there are any comments or questions, anything, let me know. Otherwise, we'll end here.
It's very interesting, Prabhuji, really. Yeah. If anybody have any questions?
No, Akka.
Okay. I think we are good at it, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining this Bhagavatam discussion.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada.